Hey, welcome back to our Achievement Hunter series, aimed at embracing the Darkmoon Faire gameplay achievements. While we thought our previous video was the last of the achievement hunts for the Darkmoon Faire, it seems Blizzard had other plans. They decided to give us one more way to earn a little bit extra XP before the next set hits. With 12 new achievements, there's a lot to cover. But most of these are a lot more straightforward than the original ones, so we should be able to race through them. Let's get into it. This should be interesting. In today's video, we're covering all 12 new gameplay achievements from the mini set. It's a good thing these are a bit simpler than the original achievements to pull off, because if you want the XP from these, you'll want to complete these before the next set hits, since it sounds as though the XP reward will go away at the end of each expansion. Anyways, the new achievements are Highway to Fel, which just requires us to cast Illidari Studies 30 times, Forest Fights Back, where we need to destroy 120 Darkmoon treants, 3 for 1 sale, ultimately to destroy 60 minions with bola shots, Hard Tack, calling for us to gorge on 30 mana biscuits, so Judgey, where we have to restore 180 health with lifesteal weapons, and Darkmoon Express, which asks us to give minions 90 health with Light Steed's effect. There's also Monkey Business, where we force opponents to draw 30 bananas, win by a landslide, asking us to engineer 60 landslides, Cannot Run, Cannot Hide, which is to play 18 primes as Warlock, the Best Defense, that just requires we attack with our hero while we have armor, 30 times, and the 2 new neutral achievements, Can't Touch This, asking that we have Moonfang survive damage 30 times, and Who Let the Dragon Out, requiring 30 minions to be destroyed by Runaway Blackwing. That's it. Nothing too crazy, but there are efficient and fun ways to pull these off, especially since none of these requires us to win games to complete. As always, there are timestamps for each achievement and deck codes for each deck mentioned in the description below if you'd like to skip to one you're looking for. Strangely enough, I think we'll just go in order this time, which means we're looking at the Highway to Fel first. So, play Illidari Studies 30 times. Guide complete. Next. Wait, fine. If you want a decently strong deck to complete this achievement, this Fel Your Face deck from HSReplay will let you climb while working on this one. It's not the strongest Demon Hunter deck, but it's Demon Hunter, so you can climb with it. But if you're like me and playing Demon Hunter enough times to cast 30 Illidari Studies sounds like a laborious chore without something interesting to do, you could try out this Study Incredible Fury deck we built. It's based on the Incredible Fury deck we highlighted a while back. There's a link to it above if you'd like to see it, where we aim to summon a bunch of Priestesses of Fury in a single game with help from Zai the Incredible and Philosophy. Illidari Studies can give us extra philosophies or Skulls of Gul'dan to get even more priestesses or cycle through the deck while discounting our Raging Fell Screamers or priestesses. And if you really want a meme, here's a deck we just started experimenting with, Alabaster's Incredible Glide Demon Hunter. Shortly after the Skullomance Academy expansion hit, we experimented with Keymaster Alabaster and Glide to force our opponent to shuffle their hand and give us 4 1-mana cards all at once. But it was unreliable since we needed Skull of Gul'dan to hit Keymaster Alabaster or Glide so that we could play them both on the same turn. I mean, Keymaster Alabaster practically never survives on board, so you have to play them together. But with the discount from Illidari Studies on Glide, this is much more consistent. It's a fun way to play the studies and wreck your opponent's plans. What more could you ask for as a Demon Hunter? Next up, it's time to watch the March of the Ents, or Treants, but more specifically Darkmoon Treants, for the Forest Fights Back achievement. Any Treants you summon except Darkmoon Treants won't count towards this achievement. And while the new Arbor Up card paired with Solar Eclipse is probably the most efficient way to burn through this achievement, it's not the only card that will plant Darkmoon Treants. Faire Arborist also summons them for you. So if you're looking for the maximum potential of Darkmoon Treants summoned per game on average, this Darkmoon Treants Swarm Druid is probably the most efficient way to get there. If you don't have Gory the Might Tree, I wouldn't recommend crafting him, since he's about to rotate out. You might try more card draw, such as the Second Rising Winds or Guess the Weight, to help cycle through the deck even faster, or return the runic carvings we cut from the original deck from Pheno. Speaking of which, this original deck from Pheno is one of the Treant Druids that's been tearing up the ladder, so you might play this instead if you prefer a strong win rate over the potential for 2 more Darkmoon Treants per game. Either way, you'll be playing a fair number of games to finish this one. I hope you like Treants. This next one isn't too difficult to pull off at the moment because there are so many token and Treant Druids on the ladder. 3 for 1 sale is the Hunter achievement requiring us to use bola shots to ultimately destroy 60 minions. Since this requires you to destroy the minions with bola shots, and this is a spell that hits 3 minions, Professor Slate is an amazing card to pair with bola shot. That is, if he's not always hiding near the bottom of your deck like he did for me. Though, if you're just looking for a deck that burns opponents down fast and can guarantee 3 easy targets for bola shot, you might try this bola shot goes face deck we built. Even if your opponent is a priest who keeps summoning high health taunts to get in your way and is eagerly waiting for your toxic reinforcements to complete so that they can silence your leper gnomes with mass dispel, you can bola shot your own leper gnomes as soon as they arrive to ensure 3 kills and 6 face damage. That's not the best use of bola shot in a lot of games, but it's an option. But if you're looking for a fun deck which does combine Professor Slate and bola shot with a number of other unusual tools for Hunter to take down opponents, you might try this bola Slate deck from CDC 767. It's a fun way to get value from Varisa Windrunner before she rotates out of standard. And Moonfang seems to be happy to gain progress towards the neutral achievement in this deck as well. Have fun setting up those killer bola shots. If you're looking for something to sustain you through completing all these achievements, you might try out Hard Tack. It doesn't taste very good, but it'll keep you going, which is exactly what Conjure Mana Biscuit does for mages. It's a great way to generate a couple extra spells for Mana Cyclone without any real extra cost, or to store up some mana for a huge pop-off turn. One deck that does this really well, but is a real challenge to get the max value from, is this Cyclone Biscuit deck from No Hands Gamer. If you'd like tips on how to mulligan and get great value from this deck, I'd recommend checking out his video where he introduced the deck from January 22nd. He gives a 12-minute guide for the deck followed by 4 games demonstrating it. Since this deck can also generate a few extra mana biscuits with Mana Cyclone, it's probably the most efficient way to complete the quest. But if you're looking for a fun way to eat 30 mana biscuits while fireballing opponents to death from whatever amount of health they've reached, this Biscuits and Gravy deck from Mark McKaysey is a fun way to return to infinite damage mage. You do have to discount one of the Potion of Illusion with an Incanter's Flow, but on the combo turn, you just drop the Sorcerer's Apprentices, copy them with Potion of Illusion, drop the new Apprentices, eat your mana biscuits, and dump Antonidas onto the board alongside any remaining spell but Blizzard to begin the rain of fireballs at your opponent. It always feels good to follow up a snack of mana with a workout of throwing fireballs. Alright, I'll admit, that last bit was a bit corny, but do you have to be so judgy? And seamless transition! Anywho, while this achievement is named around the new Librum of Judgment from the mini set, which certainly can work to complete this achievement, when you have to restore 180 health to complete this, it's worth trying out more efficient methods of completing it. And since these achievements are not necessarily locked to the class they fall under, it shouldn't be a surprise that I recommend Aldrachi Warblades in Demon Hunter as the most efficient way to knock this one out. Any deck running Eldrazi Warblades and some weapon buffs will work, but this new Soul Demon Hunter deck from HSReplay has some particularly potent ways to swing the Warblades for massive amounts of lifesteal per turn. Now, it does require you to be damaged or take damage to get progress towards the achievement, but I'm confident that in Standard, Demon Hunter is the fastest way to pull this off. However, if you can't stomach playing Demon Hunter more than absolutely necessary, or you just want a fun way to spice up the grind to complete this one, you could try out this pure ramping Paladin deck we developed. It's a pure Paladin deck that uses the Red Scale Dragon Tamer Nosdormer the Timeless ridiculous ramp potential alongside most of the Libram package. The Aldor Truth Seekers make the Libram of Judgment easier to corrupt so that they can gain lifesteal. And since it's pure, you can also get progress towards the High Exarchy Rel achievement. There is so much healing in this deck that once you've ramped to 10 mana, unless you draw poorly, it's hard not to overwhelm opponents. So whether you choose to complete this efficiently with Demon Hunter, or in a fun way with Paladin, no worries, I won't judge you. Up till now, there have been meta-viable decks or ways to tweak meta-viable decks to complete the achievements relatively efficiently. However, Darkmoon Express takes priests in a completely different direction than any of their meta decks are going. Lightsteed pairs much better with one of the older directions of priest from the Divine Spirit Inner Fire days. However, Chump came up with this deck that uses both Rally and Lightsteed fairly effectively to tempo opponents down. A major issue with the deck is the complete lack of card draw. So if you don't get a good start, or your opponent clears your board and you don't draw Rally, you will die miserably. However, when you get the right card draw and you can drop Lightsteed alongside a Potion Vendor or Circle of Healing, it's amazing how quickly a couple inner fire targets will be ready to smack opponents to death. And if you don't care about losing, but just want to finish the quest, Circle of Healing applying Lightsteed's health buff to enemy minions counts as well. So this will complete the achievement decently quickly if you draw those two cards in time even while losing with the deck. But a really fun deck we built as a major twist on Resurrect Priest with Lightsteed is this Resurrect the Light deck, running Holy Nova and Holy Ripple as small AoEs that will buff your own minions to higher health if you have a Lightsteed out there. The Grave Runes tend to be better on Taunts and Moonfang. This was one of the more fun ones to run Moonfang in. But if you're really eager to get this achievement done, or a few buffs from the steeds would allow an Inner Fire to send a surprise lethal, it's an okay recipient. This is not your typical Res Priest, so it's a bit weaker, but we did better with this than the Tempo Priest. Though some people have an absolute loathing of Res Priest, so Chump's deck is a fun alternative if you can't bring yourself to Resurrect the Light. Now, let's get on with some monkey business. Unless you want to play Banana Vendor and Glide from an outcast position in Demon Hunter, I'm pretty sure the only way to force your opponent to draw bananas in Standard is by playing Shenanigans. If you want a quick and relatively efficient way to complete this, just tossing Shenanigans into a secret rogue, as we did here, will get you progress towards this. And Shadow Jeweler Hanar always has potential to generate more of these, so you can continue wrecking your opponent's game plan while getting progress towards this. But if you want to take the Shenanigans to a whole new level, you could try this Octosari Shenanigans deck we built to really destroy slower opponents' cards. Anka the Buried will discount Octosari once it's in hand, and then Silas to donate a 1/1 Octosari to the opponent for a backstab or weapon strike will really burn through their deck. Sadly, the Shenanigans won't trigger if you kill Octosari on your turn, so it doesn't really help accomplish the achievement faster, but it's a way to double down on Shenanigans. Not just the secret. You know. Have fun however you choose to complete this. The last deck we introduced may not have that great of a win rate, but we can expect the recommended deck for this one to win by a landslide. Yep, I went there. Okay, anyways, we need to trigger 60 landslides, and fortunately, it seems that if you get the overload effect, it counts as another landslide. So it's possible to get 4 landslides per game with the original 2 spells. But if you get extra copies back from Diligent Note Taker, or generate extras from Instructor Fireheart, it's possible to knock this one out even faster. Any deck running Landslide can complete this, and the cards I just mentioned will help speed things along, but I only have one deck I really recommend this time, Spell Damage Shaman. This build has a mix of spell damage synergy cards, including Sorceress Substitute. She provides significant pressure on board to complement the surprising amount of burst damage this deck can generate while clearing with landslides and Ras Frostwhisper. If you're missing Lady Vosh or Instructor Fireheart, you might just swap them for Farsight, Stormstrike, or even Dunk Tank. But if you're missing Raz, I'd recommend switching to a different archetype entirely, since he binds the deck together pretty strongly. Control or even Evolve Shaman can use Landslide effectively to clear the way for what they're doing. But if you have Raz, this is a fun deck to slide through this achievement. When a landslide comes, there's not usually time to run or hide. I'm not sure what this is a reference to for Warlocks and how it connects to Primes. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. But it seems we need to play 18 Primes as a Warlock. This achievement and the neutral one for Moonfang are the only ones from the mini set that require legendary minions. If you have Envoy Rustwicks, this will be a cinch to complete. And we've got a really fun deck to share for that. And if you have Cannerthod Ebonlock, but not Rustwicks, it's also not a problem, but it will take longer. I did a few runs with Warlocks and Duels with a focus on getting Demons buckets, but neither Cannerthod nor Rustwicks were ever offered, and the sites listing loot buckets don't appear to have been updated since the mini set came out, so I can't say whether either of them is possible in Duels. If it is possible, it's not very consistent. However, fortunately for us, Envoy Rustwicks is a demon, so it is possible to discover him off of Demonic Studies, Call of the Void, or even Shadow Council. It's not a fast way to finish the achievement, but it'll work. Now, if you have the cards, a deck that was a lot of fun to complete this with was this Rustwicks Quest Warlock deck. The previous version ran an Arcwitch Willow instead of Twisting Nether, and there's some debate about swapping the Questing Explorers for Sense Demons and reducing the greed of the deck by cutting Takatis and Yasharj, but the original versions led to some amazing games, including one where we shuffled 34 primes into our deck. There's a link to that highlight above if you'd like to check it out. So this is a fun one. But any deck running Cannerthod Ebonlock, such as this Zoo Warlock deck from HSReplay, can complete this achievement across enough games. Remember, we have links to all the deck lists below if you'd like to grab one you want to use or modify. Good luck, however you choose to go after this one. So while this next achievement, the Best Defense, is listed under Warrior, perhaps due to the new Spiked Wheel card, the simplest way to complete this quickly is to play a Druid deck and use the hero power to attack things. Congratulations, you've completed this achievement. Really, that's all there is to it. Now, if you want a kind of fresh way to complete this as a warrior, you could try out this new Pirates Warrior deck from Dexter. It has plenty of weapons, so as long as you have armor from your hero power at some point, you'll make progress towards this. Taking the time to armor up is a little contrary to the deck's game plan though, so if you're just looking to complete this relatively efficiently in Warrior, this Bomb Warrior from HSReplay can do the trick as well. But honestly, I think most players will finish this one without even trying to. Enjoy the free XP. We're down to the neutral achievements now, and the first one is Can't Touch This. As mentioned earlier, this and the Warlock achievement are the only ones that require a legendary to complete. Unlike Envoy Rustwicks and Demonic Studies, there doesn't appear to be a reliable workaround to generate Moonfang. If you're lucky, you'll get her from Jandis Barov every now and then. but you could probably play thousands of games with cards like Baron's Stable Hand in Standard or Stampede in Wild just to generate her in your hand, and then your opponent may just destroy her instead of running minions into her. I wouldn't recommend it. And similar to Rustwix, we ran a number of duels with beast-oriented hunters and menagerie-oriented warriors in an effort to generate her in loot buckets, but we weren't able to find her. Without updated information on the loot buckets, I'm not sure if we can rely on getting her in a duels run. However, if you have her, there are a lot of different ways to complete this one. We've mentioned her in the decks for Hunter and the Priest achievements, but when specifically going after this achievement, a deck like this Guardian Animals Druid deck would probably be the fastest way to complete this in a close to meta deck and playstyle. But as usual, if you like doing things in a more interesting way, you could try out this Moonfang Learned Charge combo hunter deck aimed at discounting Moonfang with Scarlet Webweaver and copying her with Ramka Wild Tamer and Hunting Party with a finisher to drop a board of charging Moonfangs alongside Tundra Rhino. What makes this deck interesting is that a combo deck like this would normally have an issue with taunts, but Moonfang's effect improves the chances of her surviving for a follow-up charge while getting progress towards the achievement. Of course, if you just want to finish this achievement the fastest way possible and don't care about winning, this Clown Druid deck that uses Survival of the Fittest alongside bees will allow you to guarantee at least 4 survived damage per game where you've managed to cast the Survival of the Fittest and target Moonfang with bees. Your opponent will wonder if you've gone mad, but you'll make relatively swift progress towards the achievement. Have fun with this one. So, what's the last gameplay achievement from the mini set? It's Who Let the Dragon Out? They went all out with the music references this time. So, we just have to destroy 30 minions with Runaway Blackwing to complete this one. But Runaway Blackwing does cost 9 mana, so it's not all that easy to play. Fortunately, there are a couple decks that are really good at ramping quickly and cheating out minions. A fun one that's become popular lately is Dual Paladin. This one from HSReplay is actually touting a 60% win rate at 950 games at the time of script writing. So, you know, it seems pretty strong. You might try out a Plagued Protodrake in the deck if you're missing Colossus of the Moon or Tyrian Fordring. But another deck that's a lot of fun and has potential to summon even more Runaway Blackwings onto the board in a single game is this Big Runaways Warrior. If you hit Runaway Blackwing from Dimensional Ripper, there's a good chance they'll destroy a fair number of minions before they go down. And while I don't have a good deck to share at the moment, Big Druid is also a nice candidate for a dragon to run away to. Since minions trading into this also count towards the achievement, it shouldn't take long to knock this one out. Best of luck. And that's a wrap. If you found this helpful, drop a like. It'll help others find this video since it seems YouTube enjoys it when people press buttons for them. This was the actual last video in our Achievement Hunter series for Madness at the Darkmoon Faire, as there shouldn't be any more gameplay achievements coming out until the next set, right? If you're missing an achievement from the original set, there are links to all the previous guides in the description as well. While we are done with this series, we also make gameplay videos, card reviews, and we'll be making more guides down the road. So check back for future videos, or subscribe, because it'll make you feel warm inside for half a second or so. If you have any questions or suggestions, let me know in the comments. And if watching content live is your thing, check out our stream at twitch.tv/SSAlchemist. We currently stream on Saturdays and Sundays. Oh, and we just launched our Discord server, so there's a link to that in the description below as well if you'd like to share your crazy thoughts, deck ideas, and other madness with us. As always, remember, you're awesome. Thank you for watching, and have an awesome day.